Hey everybody, it's Greg LeBoeuf and welcome to another episode of Awaken the Protect Our Within. And today I want to ask you a question that I asked myself just last week. Are you strong enough? So the big question was this: what do good people do when a society's laws and institutions fail to keep them safe from aggression and violence? How do you get through a growing number of angry, hateful, aggressive people and still remain physically, mentally, and emotionally strong and positive? That was the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Greg LeBoeuf, and welcome to Awaken the Protector Within. Okay, I said that I wanted to ask you a question, and this is a question that I asked myself last week, and it's, am I strong enough? Are you strong enough? Now let's define strength for a second, because what brought this up is, again, over so many years of doing this, I'm blessed to get to meet some amazing people, and unfortunately, I meet a lot of these amazing people because they've suffered some sort of a trauma in their life at some point. They have experienced pain and suffering through aggression, violence, bullying, tormenting, abuse, physical, mental, emotional. But nonetheless, these people are amazing. These people inspire me. These people, they're just unbelievable. But a woman that I met at one of my presentations emailed me and shared her story with me. And it was so powerful, but it really got me to reflect. And this is something that, again, I've reflected on previous in my life, but it's this reminder to control. You've heard me probably say this many times, that control follows awareness. And this just refocused me. And especially now, at this point in my life, as a father with two young daughters, it was a very powerful question. You see, I don't want to share too many of the personal details, but in her story, she shared that as a young girl, she was sitting around, kind of playing under the kitchen table as her parents sat around and were having a conversation with a friend of theirs. And the conversation turned to the story of a young woman that was sexually assaulted and that pressed charges and was going through the whole court case. And during that process, we can all imagine how hard that process was. But during that process, this young woman committed suicide. And this little girl at 4 years old, hiding under the table, playing under the table, remembers very clearly hearing her father say that I would kill that son of a bitch before I ever let my daughter go through that. And I think that that is a very understandable response from a parent. I know that I feel the same way. But here's what's interesting. You see, this little girl, 4 years old, later in her life, in high school, was then herself became the victim of a sexual assault. And one of the things, and this is what I want to share with you, one of the things that concerned her the most was that if her father ever found out, she knew and believed that her father was a man of his word, and she knew that her father would potentially do something to these individuals. And the fear of losing her father, of seeing her father go to jail, was so real for her and so powerful for her that she internalized it. She lived with that secret. That secret became, of course, toxic for her. And and I'm happy to say that she learned how to cope with this over years, and she came up with some very good coping strategies on her own. But what I want to really share with you is that I look at that as a father and doing what I do, and I care about getting people off the X. I care about ending pain and suffering for people, but I am a protector. I take that responsibility seriously. I am raising my daughters. I am not raising the next generation of victims. I am raising my daughters to be strong, to be powerful, to be empowered. But many times, I'm sure they've heard me say, in the many conversations they hear me talk about this with other people, they're around this and they live this. And I thought to myself, my daughters would, I think, believe with every ounce of their being that if somebody was to hurt them, that my reaction and my response to that would be one to protect them, to let's be honest, to want to hurt the person that hurt them. And here's what got me thinking about is, are you strong enough? Because strength comes in many different ways. And I think we've all had moments of this in our lives. Let me explain this. But there are times when If I was around and I saw my daughters in danger, if I saw my wife in danger, if I see other innocent people in danger, and there's a moment where I can protect, where I can physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally, whatever it is, but I can take action and I can intercede. That's what I've trained to do. I have the strength to do that. That's what my life's been about, is to help people make sure that in those dark moments that they have a strength and a resiliency, that they are ready, real, they are resilient, relentless, and ruthless in the preservation of their life, their physical, mental, and emotional well-being, that of themselves, their families, their loved ones, strangers. That is what we want. But where real strength comes in is the moments when, there is something like that happens, a trauma, where what I would need if something like that was to happen to my daughters, I want my daughters to know that I would have enough strength to do what is in their best interest, not what's in my best interest. That's a different type of strength. And I thought about that, and I sat down with both my daughters and said, and my wife and I, we've said this many times, and if you're a parent, you've probably said this to your kids, but if somebody was to hurt you, if somebody was to do something inappropriate or make you feel uncomfortable, anything like that, you can tell us. And no matter what they say, even if they say that if you told that they would hurt mom or dad, or that that mom and dad wouldn't love you anymore, or whatever it is, that's not true. You can tell us anything. We've said and had those conversations many times, but this gave me a different angle, and I had a different conversation with them. And the conversation was to know that dad is strong enough and mom is strong enough to do what is best for them, and to know that we'd be okay through that. I don't know, this is all still fairly emotional in me, but I started thinking about this type of strength in a lot of different situations. And for any of you that may be listening to this, you're going through different struggles and different things, but there are moments in you when you need the strength. You need that protector inside of you. You need to be ready, real, resilient, relentless, and ruthless. You need that strength, and you need to fight. You need that strength to take action. You need the strength to do things that, to walk something that you may have to walk alone. Other people might not agree with it. You need that strength. But at the same time, there are moments in our lives, even though we might feel justified, even though we've experienced traumas or hardships, but there are moments when you need an incredible strength. You need to be ready, real, resilient, relentless, and ruthless to do what's right for that moment, which is a different action, which is sometimes as a parent, to listen, to not talk, to not fix, but to listen, to support silently, to not just take those actions that are going to make us feel good in those moments. You know what I mean? That I can imagine that father and what he felt, and say, like, I would kill that son of a bitch before I let him put my daughter through that. But in that moment, that's not the action that we need to take. It's just such a different strength, and so many different areas of life. We need to know that there is this strength inside of us. And it's hard because sometimes it takes a way different type of strength to say nothing, to just support people, to move forward with people, and at other times we need the strength to take the action. So, today's podcast was more about the second we get to look at something from a different angle, it completely changes our perception. And there is a strength inside of each and every one of us that is applicable in so many different ways. There is a strength in you that will allow you to take the actions, that will allow you to stand up, that will allow you to have a voice, even when it's not going to be popular to have that voice, but to say what needs to be said, and to say it over again and over again and over again, and no matter what it costs you to be able to do that. But there's also another strength in you, and sometimes this strength, it's a harder strength, but it's to subjugate. It's to put the needs of the people you love, or the needs of other people, sometimes even a complete stranger, ahead of your own needs, ahead of what you viscerally want to do, no matter how emotionally powerful that might be within you, to really have that ability and that strength to look at it and say, what do they need? And so, have these conversations in whatever way it may shape your life. But as you've got children, they need to know not just that you're there to protect them and that you'll take action and advocate for them, but that you actually have the strength to look at what they really need and to subjugate your own feelings and your own emotions and your own needs for them. Because I think, like with my daughters, that conversation, and I know they don't fully understand it, but to start having a conversation for them to know that we're strong enough. We're strong enough to just be there to listen for them. We're strong enough to advocate for them. We're strong enough, to just support them. That is a different type of strength, and it's one that's worth developing. It's one that's worth looking at and focusing on. And so that's it. It's a fairly short podcast today, but it was very emotional hearing her story. And I know that as her father, if I was her father, as much as you would have wanted to end the pain for her, as much as you would have wanted to be able to fix the problem for her, I know that her father, in the end of the day, would have preferred to use his strength and his passion for her safety and her well-being to free her from trauma, to free her from pain and suffering, instead of causing her to repress it and to live with that and to bury it. So that's it. I'm gonna jump off here at this point. Know that there is a strength inside of you, and that strength is versatile. That strength is and can be applied in so many facets of your life. And when you really face tough situations, you can feel it. Your intuition will tell you the times when you need to have a voice, and the times when you need to say nothing, and the times when you need to stand up for yourself, and the times you need to subjugate for others. It'll be there. Listen to your intuition. Know that you have that strength and move forward through that. All right, everybody, that's it. So listen, thank you as always. I deeply appreciate this. You're listening, you're sharing, you're rating us, helping us get our message out. And as always, please stay safe, stay ready. And remember, off that X, it's only one step away. Want to awaken your protector within? If so, then head to awakentheprotectorwithin.ca and get your free Off the X training today.